give everyone a few minutes to come in before I start addressing this. So let me know whenever. I'll give it just a second, and if no one comes in, I'm going to go ahead and start. I know it's late, and a lot of people do not come to these when they're really late, so it's okay. I understand, and I know you'll watch them tomorrow, the few that do watch me. Nobody left a comment in my, nobody left a comment letting me know on my last one if they thought I should stay or if I should go. Honestly, guys, I'm leaning more towards going because I have tried my best to bring as much info as I can to y'all, and, you know, this is something that I try to do, and I always try to do it as much as I can. When I find out something new, I always want to bring it to y'all so y'all will see it, even whenever they get taken down. Because even if they get taken down, at least somebody's seen it. And if it was meant to be put up, then the person seen it that was meant to see it before it gets taken down. My lives sometimes get taken down in the middle. When that happens, maybe I said the thing that they needed to hear before. But nobody gave me an opinion on if I should stay or if I should go. Like I said, I commit a lot of my time to doing this, trying to get as much research for y'all as possible. They have so many things that are coming out constantly that we all need to be going over and learning more about. And like I said earlier, we need to start getting back to the herbs, the natural remedies, ways to live off of the earth, and things we can eat, edible plants, things of that nature. That's something we need to go back to with our core. Now, on this live, I'm not going to go through the entire document with you. It is over I think it's 45 pages. Let's see if it'll tell me. So I did download the PDF file. It's not hard. And we'll go over some of it now. There's a couple of pages that I'm going to focus on and skip through to get to that, because that's a lot of things that we're seeing now. So if everybody wants me to, I could break the whole PDF file down for y'all, the whole 45 pages, and we could go through it together. It would be more than, it would probably be like 4 or 5 parts. But like I said, that's another thing. I don't know if that's something y'all would want me to do. Like I said, most of the time my videos don't even get watched. It's more of my lives that get watched. And I think that's more of people just trying to figure out what I'm doing. So anyways, this is fair use, and it was downloaded. So it's a PDF file that I downloaded. And it says, this document represents the doctrine adopted by the policy committee of the Bilderberg Group during its first known meeting in 1954. Now, remember, it tells you that it was dated, the following document was dated in May 1979 and was found on July 7th, 1986. Now, there is other things that they do have out right now that is more up to date. Like they do have this document they just did in 2010. They have other things that they have done. So it says the following document is taken from 2 sources. The first source was acquired on a website of which it says, I can't remember the address, listing as its source the book titled Behold, a Pale Horse by William Cooper. Light technology Light Technology, Publishing, 1991. The second source is a crudely copied booklet which does not contain a copyright notice or a publisher's name, with the exception of the foreword, the preface, and the main thing that was missing from the first source was the illustrations. So guys, there is like illustrations, a lot of different things in it actually, diagrams, things that we'll have to go in a lot of depth to look at if you want to get real into figuring out what the diagrams mean and stuff like that. So, we have no first-hand. However, many of the concepts contained herein are certainly reasonable, important, and bear strong consideration. If anyone has additional knowledge about the source of this document, has better copies of the illustrations than the ones posted here, has any missing pieces to this document, or has any comments which could improve upon the quality of this document, we would appreciate your comments. And lawfulpath.com. Additional informations include confirmation that the policy was adopted by the international elites at the first Bilderberg meeting in 1954. See, there's 45 pages. We are on page 2. Now, I do have other things that I downloaded from stopthecrime.net that we can go over to. But like I said, this would be a very long live if I read every bit of this to you. And that's something that needs to be done. Like, I really do need to read it to you. You need to hear all the words. You need to see where it's going and how it starts and how it ends. And that's one thing I don't think everybody wants me live that long. So this manuscript was delivered to our offices by an unknown person. We did not steal the document, nor are we involved with any theft from the United States government, and we did not get the document by way of any dishonest methods. We feel that we are not endangering the national security by reproducing this document. Quite the contrary, it has been authenticated, and we feel that we are not only within our rights to publish it, but morally bound to do so. So right here it tells you that it was authenticated, and they believe that it does not violate the national security to tell everyone, and they believe that it's actually on the contrary, that it would help us because what they're doing to us. Regarding the training manual, you may have detected that we had to block out the marginal notes made by the selectee at the CIA Training Center, but I can assure you that the manual is authentic and was printed for the purpose of introducing the selectee to the conspiracy. It has been authenticated by 4 different technical writers for the military intelligence. One just recently retired, who wants very much to have this manual distributed throughout the world, and one who is still employed as an electronics engineer by the federal government and has access to the entire series of training manuals. One was stationed in Hawaii and held the highest security clearance in the naval intelligence, and another who is now teaching at a university and has been working with the Central Intelligence Agency for a number of years, and once out before the axe falls on the conspirators. Okay, guys, listen. So the main reason I'm doing this document is because if I do end my channel, I'll leave my channel up until they decide to take it down or whatever. But if I do decide to leave, I'll tell everybody goodbye. But this is one video I've been promising that I would do from my other channel. From the beginning, I promised I would get this document out, and that is what I intend to do. So before I say goodbye, I will make sure I get this document out. And I was talking about this a couple of years ago, and I never got to do it. So we believe that the entire world should know about this plan. So we distributed internationally 100 of these manuscripts to ask individuals at top level positions their opinions. The consensus opinion was to distribute this to as many people as who wanted it. To end that, they would not only understand that war had been declared against them, but would be able to properly identify the true enemy to humanity. Okay. So the preface. Conspiracy theories are nothing new. Here. Conspiracy theories are nothing new to history. Plots to kill Caesar and overthrow Rome. Abundant, for instance, however, it is seldom that concrete clues to such plots come to light and are generally known. We've seen a lot of things lead up to certain things and know for a fact that it's real, you know? So Silent Little Weapons for Quiet Wars, an introduction programming manual, was uncovered quite by accident on July 7, 1986, when an employee of Boeing Aircraft Company purchased a surplus IBM copier for scrap parts at a sale and discovered inside details of a plan hatched in the embryonic days of the Cold War. Sorry, guys. Which called for control of the masses through manipulation of industry, people's pastimes, education, and political leanings. It called for a quiet revolution, pitting brother against brother and diverting the public's attention from what is really going on. The document you are about to read is real. It is reprinted in its virgin form with diagrams as a touch of reality. Okay, guys. Now, as we get into this, this is the table of contents, so I'll let you see this. So, security. Now, you have to remember, guys, that this is why I'm saying I should be doing it in parts and sections, because it goes through so many different things. And if you've already been through this and you've done Reddit and someone's done uploaded this, that's awesome. That's great for y'all. And I'm really happy for you, and I'm glad that you've gotten this information. But if you are someone who doesn't know a lot about, a lot of this stuff, I'm going to warn you right now, it completely takes education. It completely takes education and everything away. And it's completely done. Like, whenever it talks about how they want to educate you, how they don't want to teach you real math, so you couldn't really figure out what they're up to. Just a whole bunch of different things. So like I said, this is going to be a huge slap in the face for people who do not know what's really going on. So this is a little bit more of an advancement if you are just new to the truth community or awake and you just, started seeing things. This is probably a little bit more advanced for you. Welcome Abroad. The publication marks the 25th anniversary of the Third World War, called the Quiet War. Now, remember when this was done, 1979. Being conducted using subjective biological warfare fought with silent weapons. This book contains an introductory description of this war, its strategies, and its weaponry. Now, this talks about the 5G, the direct energy weapons, the radiation, the smart meters. This is all of part of their weapons, the active denial, military weapons that are disguised as different things, and what they really do is a lot. It's just, we'll get into it. Okay. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the or the automation of a society, i.e., the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, or on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life, i.e., slavery and genocide. Okay, I told you I wanted to skip around, but I am going to read a few things off of this. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such position of great power, uses such knowledge and methodologies for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. Sorry guys, like I said, it is very, very cold tonight, and I'm sorry. I'm really shaky and nervous. The solution of today's problems require an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. So this is basically, if you get this little handbook, then you have qualified, okay? So just know that. You have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with a cold objectivity and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusion with others of similar intellect capacity without the loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interest. Do not deviate from them. So this is telling you that the technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management in England during World War II. The original purpose of the operation research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies, i.e. logistics. It was soon recognized by those in position of power that the same method might be useful for totally controlling a society, but better tools were necessary. Okay, so social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information, data. So a high-speed computerized data processing system was necessary, which would race ahead by the society and predict which society would arrive. Let's see, for calculation relay computers were too slow, but the electronic computer invented in 1946 failed to build. The next breakthrough was the development of the simplex method of the line of program. Magician, and then in 1948 he invented, and then it talks. This is telling you about the technology and technology under their direction strongly succeeded with them the whole world with the push of a button. Immediately, the Rockefeller made for that economy. 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. In 1952, level meeting of the elite was held. The Harvard project been some of its results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic social engineering. Engineered in the last half of the decade of the 1940s, the new quiet machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold-plated hardware on the showroom floor by 1954. With creation of the Master in 1954, the promise of unlocking unlimited sources of fusion atomic energy from the heavy hydrogen in the seawater and consequent availability of unlimited social power was a possibility only decades away. The combination was irresistible. So it's talking about the creation of everything that they had and unlocking the unlimited sources of diffusion for the atomic energy from the heavy hydrogen in seawater. So they're telling you that they have an array and amount of so enormous amounts of what they need. The atomic energy, the heavy hydrogen in the seawater, all of this, that they have so much that, basically they could do whatever they want. Although the silent weapons was nearly exposed 13 years earlier, the evolution of the new weapon system has never suffered any major setbacks. This volume marks the 25th anniversary of the beginning of Quiet War. Already, this domestic war has had many victories on many fronts throughout the world. In 1954, it was well recognized by those in position of authority that it was only a matter of time, only a few decades before the general public would be able to grasp and upset the cradle of power, for the very elements of new silent weapon technology were as accessible for public utopia as they were for providing the private utopia. The issue of primary concern, that of dominancy, revolved around the subject of the sciences. So this is going to get very scientifical. Like I said, I almost herself. I'm going to leave this up here for just a second because I'm not going to read the whole thing, and I'm going to let whoever wants to be able to read it. But it does say energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of the sources and control of natural energy, and social science, theoretically expressed as economics, is the study of the sources and control of social energy. Both are bookkeeping system mathematics, therefore mathematics is the primary energy science, and the bookkeeper can be king if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of bookkeeping. So we have to be kept ignorant and can't figure out the real method of bookkeeping, is what it's saying, or their top of bookkeeping. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge. The end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue: who will be the beneficiary? They are very proud of themselves. Very proud of themselves. So, I hope this didn't stop going live, because sometimes it does that, and I have no idea when it does that. So, I hope we're still going. Beyond this, okay, so in 1954, this was the issue of primary concern, although the so-called moral issues were raised in view of the law of natural selection. It was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. So they're telling you that based on how they believe and what they see, and by the law of natural selection, that it was agreed that a nation or a world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. And that's okay, because that such people are beasts of burden and basically stakes on the table by choice of consent. And right there, it makes you, it's like, okay, if they choose not to be smart and use their intelligence or figure anything out or do anything with their life, then you know what? We can eat them. That's exactly what it's saying. I mean, it's right here in front of us. Consequently, in the interest of the future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with an ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, wealth, of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. And in order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in the principles of operation and public appearance to earn themselves the name silent weapons. The concept was never more than a questionable theory of elitist Charles Darwin. Are you kidding me? Then you should have done this way before I even started. In conclusion, the objective of the economic research as conducted by the magnates of the capital, banking, and the industries of committees, goods, and services is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable and manipulatable. In order to achieve a total predictable